Kenya has been receiving large amounts of funding for the implementation of programs that alleviate food shortages through income generation and livelihood initiatives. We implemented these programs in the North Rift Valley, also in Northeast and Northwest Kenya, and the focus has been on those who have lost their livelihood either because of the conflict or because of the severe drought that hit Kenya in 2008. And as a result, around 10,000 livelihood initiatives and small projects have been established and benefited around more than 56,000 people altogether.
In order for IOM to effectively implement the peace-building program that had the components of shelter and livelihoods, we had to further explore what the immediate needs from a livelihoods perspective were for the post-election violence-affected families. And we realized that we need to roll out a series of activities that will help families access agricultural inputs to allow them to resume their farming cycles. And we are not claiming to provide indefinite livelihood support to these affected families, but rather jumpstart their livelihood activities. And we received a lot of positive feedback from the families because many of them said, we do not require and desire perpetual assistance from the government. We just need something that will help us resume our previous livelihoods and help us reconstruct what we can of what was destroyed.
One of the interventions was to distribute farm inputs, seeds and fertilizers. In our second intervention, IOM was to help pastoralists diversify their agriculture production. And we realized that those pastoralists are food insecure because they don't have diversified agriculture production. So FAO advised IOM to increase crop production amongst the pastoralists around Kakuma and Dadaab. In these interventions, FAO piloted the use of drip irrigation kits, where farmers were educated how to grow vegetable crops through drip irrigation. Because this is a very dry area, we had to construct water pans where if it rains, the water is collected during the rainy season. And we educated the farmers how to use that water to produce vegetables.
Sile miaka imeisha, sisi tulikuwa na shida ya maji, hatukuweko na maji, tulikuwa tunakunywa maji ya laga, ambao tunaenda kuchimba kisima mdogo. Sisi tunakunya, hatukuweko na chakula kwa sababu hatukuwa na mvua ya kulima. Na sisi tulikuwa na mashamba yetu. Alafu hata mali yetu, mbuzi, ngamia, ng'ombe, ilikuwa inakufa njaa. Hii ndizi 300 hii inasalicha hapa Lupusi peke yake. Na imekuwa sasa na paipai, imekuwa na mangos. Ikiiva tunasauza kuuzia Kakuma, Lodwar, hata Nairobi, watu ya Nairobi watakuja kununua hapa. Kwa sababu hii ni mingi sana. Na tunashukuru serikali ya Japan na IOM na serikali ya Kenya kwa kutupatia mbegu kama tangu Kenya apate uhuru. Mturukana hajawahi kupanda ndizi, hajawahi kupanda mangoes na paipai. Kwanza upande ya Turkana North ilikuwa shida sana kupata kitu kama hii. Na hii ndio itabadilisha makao yetu iwe mzuri kuliko ile ya zamani. Tulikuwa tunaombana kila kitu, chakula, pesa, ndizi, nini. Tulikuwa tunaombana kwa watu wengine, kwanza kwa serikali. Nafikiri sasa hii itabadilisha hiyo mtindo iwe mzuri.
The training that we have imparted, it is a skill empowerment training. So we redesigned vocational skills training that uses locally available material. And that is why we had to look into the aspect of bone craft training. Basketry is another activity that the Turkana community have been doing for several years. We have the weaving. They do a lot of good job. They produce quality material that can be sold nationally and internationally. The community participates from the decision, the assessment, and finally the implementation part of it, and even monitoring. In that way, you can only be assured that the sustainability of this project will be there. The community will protect it. The community will have a lot of interest on it because they participated from the word go. This is a community that is going from pastoralists to agro-pastoralists. And you know, you can't change a community overnight. You need to take time. So to mobilize the community to accept the project and to carry it forward for several years, it needs a lot of patience and it needs some resources.
In Mafuta, we are doing market construction and also an energy center. Energy center in the sense it's a hybrid clean energy technology, and we are doing wind turbines and the solar technology to power the energy center, and the market will be lit by using the energy center. We will also be having a ICT center. In this center, we will be training some young people on IT, and also there will be a mobile charging center by using the solar energy.
Kabla tujaanza huu mradi tulikuwa katika makambi, tulikuwa hapa katika kanisa la PCA. Shauri kutoka IOM wakatuambia kwamba ni mradi turudi mahali tulikuwa, kila mmoja aweze kurudi kwa kikao chake, ndiposa tuweze kuinua maisha yetu, iweze kuendelea. Na tuliporudi manyumbani, wakatufuata, wakaja wakatujengea manyumba, na tukaonelea kwamba tuitishe huu mradi kutoka kwa IOM kwa sababu tuliona ya kwamba huu mradi ukifika hapa kwetu utatusaidia na utainua maisha yetu tukiwa pamoja, tukiwa na kabila zote, tukiungana.
We have a very clear example of a Kikuyu gentleman whose family lost everything, practically everything that they owned during the post-election violence, and found themselves in one of the main IDP camps in and around Eldoret. We learned that he was part of an association, a livelihoods association that focused on beekeeping. And he was the chair, and the vice chair of this beekeeping association was a gentleman of Kalenjin ethnicity. And were both actively involved in this livelihoods association that we learned was not touched during the post-election violence. And what we have finally come to understand is when there is a collective economic activity, communities will not destroy it.
Tuko Cherangani Dairy Group, shamba la Cherangani Dairy Group, na hii shamba ni ya kikundi ambaye wanahusika na mambo ya maziwa. Ilianza mwaka wa 2007 mwezi 2008 wakati ya michefuko baada ya siasa katika nchi hii. Ndiposa IOM waliingia na wakafanya research feasibility study, wakasunguka kila sehemu, wakaona unifying factor ambayo itaunganisha watu ya Cherangani ni kupitia kiwanda cha maziwa ambayo ni dairy sector. Wakati huu tuko na members zaidi ya 1500. Miradi huu imeleta faida kwa wakulima mwenye na lita 1 mpaka lita 1000. So imefaidi kila mtu katika eneo hili. Hatuna mtu ambaye iko nje, wote wa wenyeji wakaaji wa Cherangani, makabila sote ambaye wanaishi eneo hili ni members wetu wa Cherangani Dairy Group.
The project that is currently running, that is funded by the Japanese government, has 3 components. Has a counter-trafficking component, a livelihood component, and a psychosocial component. And under the emergency unit, the counter-trafficking program is specifically looking at those that have fallen vulnerable to trafficking due to a certain emergency situation. What we've seen is that many of the individuals, either refugees or the host communities, have lost their livelihoods for one reason or another, making them extremely vulnerable to trafficking in the sense that since they've lost everything, they're looking for ways of rebuilding their lives. And what opportunists do is try and prey on these individuals, promise them the world, and end up exploiting them in one form or another. And these people end up accepting these offers because of the desperate situations that they are left in due to the emergency situations that they're surrounded by. Well, we have three key areas under this project. One is to create mass awareness on what is human trafficking, but also to promote safe migration. So we've done this by leading a nationwide mass media campaign. This is both targeted to the communities that have been affected by an emergency situation, but also the general public. And this involves billboards, TV commercials, radio advertisements, road shows, whereby we go into the different communities at the grassroots level, really trying to build awareness, but also to push for legislation at some point so that those that are involved in trafficking can be prosecuted. Some of the benefits of this campaign is that we've been able to establish a call center in northeastern Kenya. We've partnered with the government of Kenya and Childline 116 so that those individuals that have inquiries on trafficking, or children specifically that have inquiries on what is trafficking, or parents that have questions, can always call up the center toll-free and ask for advice and guidance and be linked with one of our service providers that we've identified on the ground and provided with services at hand.
The benefit is that people were not aware of the existence of this program. Two, there were so many issues that were mixing. There is smuggling and the human trafficking, which yet little bit related. So people are in a position now to differentiate the two and also understand that if somebody approaches somebody talking about he has something, people will not blindly go after the person. That's at least enlightened the minds of the community here and at least shed light on the situation that's already in place. Therefore, people are becoming more extraordinarily careful at this moment.
I could suggest we'll continue synthesizing awareness campaigns or trainings within the camp so that the other youths, my age mates, or the mothers at home, or the leaders can understand what human trafficking is so that they can assist others.